I gotta say, anytime you get to ride a motorcycle into an auto show, it's a really good day. And especially when it is a BMW that opens up an entirely new segment for us, the super sport bike segment. And more importantly, it is the most powerful motorcycle we have ever made. 193 horsepower. 0 to 60, 2.9 seconds. I got to tell you, this bike rocks. This bike has more power than the first generation M3 that we introduced, well, way back when, 1988. Since then, we have been refining ultimate driving machines for the US market, and this year, we have 19 new models coming to market. This is a very exciting time for BMW. So let's get started. The 7 Series, this was introduced, the 5th generation of which, just a year ago. Already, it has become the segment leader, and it took that position from a very tough competitor, a competitor that held that position for 17 of the last 20 years. So the 7 Series has been a great success. How do we keep it going? By introducing 8 new models. The first of which is something that I am really fired up about. We haven't had it in the US for 18 years, and that's a 6-cylinder powered 740i and 740Li long wheelbase. 300 horsepower, inline 6-cylinder engine. I got to tell you, this thing is so much fun to drive. And it has the same performance characteristics of the prior generation 7 Series with a V8, but it gets 25 miles to the gallon. So that's coming first. Next up, Active Hybrid 7. Drove one into the Manhattan earlier today. I got to tell you, this is another very exciting vehicle from BMW. Why? Because it is the BMW of hybrids. This thing has a V8 twin-turbo, 3-phase electric engine powered by a lithium-ion battery. It is the fastest hybrid in America. 0 to 60, 4.7 seconds. It gives you the power of a V12 and the fuel efficiency of a 6. And now, let's pull the cover off of this baby. This is the Alpina B7, but now, for those of you in the East Coast, available with xDrive. This car sets these standards for performance, refinement, and exclusivity, but now it has all-weather performance. Under this hood, 500 horsepower, twin-turbocharged, all-aluminum modified V8, but gets 21 miles to the gallon. Fully adaptive suspension technologies. It's got dynamic damping control, active roll stabilization. What does it mean? Who cares, right? What it means is the shock absorbers and the roll bars actively adjust depending on how you're driving or what the road conditions are. In sum, this gives you the agility of a 3 Series and the luxury and comfort of a 7. So let's go to the 3 Series. This is the heart and soul of our brand. This is the vehicle that created the sports sedan segment, and it is our largest volume vehicle. By the way, it's also been on the Car and Driver 10 Best list for 19 consecutive years. Nobody comes close to that. And how are we going to keep it going? By introducing new updates, engines, models. Let's pull the cover off of this. This is the new 335IS. S at BMW means sport. So we've got another 20 horsepower on tap. And what I really like is it's got a overboost function for the torque, which gives you another 40 foot-pounds of torque. So when you put your foot into it, bang, this thing really goes. 0 to 60, 5 seconds. And for the first time in a 3 Series, a 7-speed double-clutch transmission. Very exciting. We'll have it available in the convertible as well. X5. This is another vehicle. You know, a lot of people introduce SUVs. We said, no, that's not what we're about. We do SAVs, sports activity vehicles, because we are an active, engaged brand. We have already sold 336,000 of these in the US. More than 1 million have been built in South Carolina and exported all throughout the world. It's another example of segment leadership as well. The diesel version of this car actually is the top-selling luxury diesel in America. But we're not stopping there. Let's pull the cover off of this. We've got all new, more powerful and efficient turbocharged 6-cylinder and V8 engines, some appearance enhancements that you can see, and technological updates, including an 8-speed automatic transmission, brake energy regeneration. What does it mean? A 20% increase in efficiency and a 15% increase in performance. And last but not least, let's just go ahead and pull the cover off of this one. Our Z4 35IS. This is another vehicle that holds segment leadership 13 of the last 14 years. It has the same technology that I mentioned in the 335IS, but now it's tuned for a roadster. And I got to tell you, I drove this thing at a proving ground in Germany, and there's something about the exhaust note in this car. It just makes you want to push it. Great, great automobile. But the big news today, the big news is that 35 years ago, we introduced the 5 Series. And this was a unique product because it really offered this interesting balance of performance and luxury. By the way, when that vehicle was introduced 35 years ago, it was also the first time that we introduced our ultimate driving machine tagline. This vehicle embodies the ultimate driving machine. Now, the current 5 was launched in 2003. It is the segment leader this year in its final production year. Just last month, Motor Trend had a comparison with 7 other cars. The BMW 5 Series was the number 1, beating out 7 other competitors, and this in its final year of production. But in June, we debuted the 2011 5 Series, and we upped the ante. The luxury and technology of the 7 Series, the agility of a 3 Series, it gets all new engines, transmission, suspension in a stunning new package. Ladies and gentlemen, the all-new 5 Series. Thank you. This car, this represents the core of our brand. It is the epitome of the ultimate driving machine. It also, by the way, represents 20% of our volume in the US, so this is a very important car for us. Now, from an exterior standpoint, I love this design. It's got classic BMW proportions, a long hood really showing the power that is underneath that hood. The overall vehicle has gotten a little bit longer, a little bit wider, a little bit lower, and trademark BMW very short overhangs. The interior, driver orientation, great cockpit. You put your hands on that steering wheel, all the controls fall right to place. And one of our most luxuriously appointed interiors ever. But as with any BMW, it might look pretty, but it's what's under the skin that makes this brand so special. So let's start with the engines. The 550 V8 engine, twin turbocharged, direct injection, maximum output 400 horsepower. We'll also have the 535, that silky smooth inline 6, twin scroll turbocharger, again direct injection, Valvetronic. By the way, 29 miles per gallon highway. And both offer an 8-speed automatic transmission, and because we are the ultimate driving machine, 6-speed manual gearbox in both the 535 and 550 available, and a no-cost option. Thank you. We're fighting for those manual gearboxes. The 528 comes later in the year. That'll have a different version of the 6-cylinder engine, 240 horsepower, lightweight magnesium engine. Great, great car. Great car. All 5 Series also feature our efficient dynamics technologies. That means brake energy regeneration, electric power steering, on-demand engine components like the water pump or alternator, and lightweight materials, liberal use, for example, of aluminum in the doors, hood, front fenders, suspension assemblies, all made of aluminum. We could speak for hours about this car. Trust me, I could. But we need to also get on to the value, because at BMW, and especially in this market, value is so important. When these vehicles come to market, they will have higher content and lower prices. The 535i will start at $49,650. The 550, $59,750, including navigation. And with any BMW, whether it's the 7 Series, the 3 Series, the 1 Series, we have ultimate service, which means you pay nothing for any service for the first 4 years of ownership, regardless of what happens. Now, I've been listening in on some of the press conferences that have been happening and attended a dinner last night, and I hear lots of people talking about how they are cautiously optimistic. We're not. You're not going to get a caveat from us. We are really, really optimistic. We are excited because it is product that drives the market. And we have new product in spades. And our success is rooted in remaining true to what this brand is all about, knowing who we are and what we're about. When I think back about the first time I drove a BMW, there was something so magical about it for me. It's the way when you're driving that car and you feel through the steering everything that's happening on that road beneath the car. Same with the brakes. You put your foot on the brake pedal, it communicates to you, it talks to you, not in an obtrusive way, but in a reassuring way. I remember years ago there was an enthusiast magazine that did a test to find out what was it about BMW steering that was so remarkable that you could feel these things. And they did a test where they put dimes on the road, and they wanted to know how many dimes would it take before you could actually feel those coins on the road. It was 2 dimes. This brand is special because we know who we are and what we're about. We have been building ultimate driving machines for 8 decades, and we're going to continue to do that. Brands that remain authentic and true to what they're about don't just survive, they thrive. Thank you for joining us. We welcome you to come on up and take a look at these great cars. And